everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Females Thriving Over 30 podcast. Today, we are going to talk about motherhood, like another one of our motherhood topics. I think it's very important for us to shed light on these topics and about how we can change our minds, how we evolve as we grow, and how that is perfectly okay. But before we actually start introducing our guest and going into the topic, I just want to know, Jasmine, how this week has been for you.
Yeah, good, thank you. Speaking of motherhood, I think I mentioned last week it's summer holiday. I am home for the whole of the summer holidays. I've decided to take it off work before my daughter starts school. So, as you can imagine, my activity's been slightly different to a normal week for the past week. Although yesterday it was really nice. We went to a lake and we went out on a little kayak together. So me and my husband and Mina were all in a kayak together on the lake, and she loved that. And then she wanted to go in the lake. She was like, I want to go swimming. So I was like, go for it. So my husband took her in the lake and she was
Nice.
swimming about, braver than I am.
Very nice. Very
But yeah,
nice.
it's been really nice. Very
What
nice, very, very tiring.
I bet, like, did you get like into the kayaking thing after your holiday in Ibiza? And now it's just like
Yeah,
kayaking,
yeah.
but no
Well,
sharks
I've
there.
always wanted, no sharks. I've always wanted me to be like really outdoorsy and there's like some things that I never really got to experience when I was younger, or maybe, just like things that your parents didn't really take you to do certain
Mhm.
types of activities.
Yeah,
So I'm trying my best to like give her a taste of loads of different
that's good.
activities in life so that she can find the stuff she's passionate about. But it's fun for us as well. I
Yeah.
always have like a bucket list of things to do.
But that's nice, like this is one of the things that I am missing. Why do we live so far? I have a
I know,
paddleboard. I
yeah.
never go because I don't have
Ah,
anybody to go to. Maybe I can start going now with our guests because we live very close. So I'll ask her later. But I miss that. I miss just doing things like outdoorsy with people, and you live so far. But well, next
well,
time
we
that
can
we
meet
meet,
halfway.
yeah, yeah, there's rivers everywhere, right, in this country.
Yeah.
We
And
we could
I
find one.
realized the other day, I was like, oh, you haven't actually met Mila yet.
No,
So
never.
we
No,
need to do
or
that.
Liam.
Yeah, yeah. So we need to do that as well.
We've just met each other, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get along because we are one. We are the same person.
Yeah, yeah.
We realized the other day. Well, the other day, I think like a couple of times, like we are reading the same book, we're listening almost to the same music, we're watching the same movies. We're the same person.
And how has your week been?
Good. I have my lashes on, so I said
Mm-hmm.
like a couple of
Looking
episodes
good.
ago that I was gonna get the lashes, and I got them on, and I love them. I love them so much that
Mm-hmm.
I got two new pairs that are like the
Oh.
more natural one as well, to just
Mm-hmm.
see how I feel, because I like them, but then at the same time I feel like for maybe every day they might be too much, and maybe these are more for like when I'm going on holiday or something like that. But yeah, I really really like them. They were quite easy to apply. Well,
Yeah, I was
I'm
surprised
not
too.
gonna lie. I lied. I like one eye was easy to apply. The other eye was not that easy to apply. And there was a one point that the lash that I had, I had a little bit of the glue on, fell into my eye, and I didn't know how to get it out. Not even like with my nails, with the little thing on, and I was like, "Ah, I'm gonna be blind. Why did I even try this?" But no, then I pushed them in like this, like with my nail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That was so good. Like
Yeah,
literally amazing. So so good.
yeah.
Best invention ever. I don't know. Like I'm just looking at it now. I don't know how it's gonna be when I remove them. If that's gonna be as easy as putting them on, but I'm
Oh,
excited.
it is. Yeah, so if
Yeah.
you bought the remover,
I bought the
like
whole
you
kit.
literally, yeah, so I got the remover as well. So you literally just like wipe it on the top and the bottom and they just slide off.
Amazing. Do you know
Literally.
if you
Yeah.
can do them, like you can use them like very regularly, or do you need to have like breaks in between? Because I do remember when I had my lashes done, like
Mm-hmm.
I lost my lashes because of the glue and stuff. But can you
Yeah, yeah.
this one? Do you know?
I think so. I don't know. I've used them. So when I use them to go away, I've only used them for holidays and then had a break between. But when I've used them to go away and I take them off, my eyelashes look fine.
Yeah.
It's never looked like I've lost eyelashes or anything.
Awesome.
So I
Oh,
don't
good.
see why. Yeah.
I'm excited. Before Lauren, our guest, came in and we started recording, I was like trying to like straighten my hair, and I'm just gonna tell you why. I messed up big time.
No.
I wanted to cut my fringe because it was so long. And I made the mistake that I always make, and I always do the same thing, and I know it. Never cut your bangs with wet hair.
Mm.
Always with dry
Oh.
hair. So is this
Oh.
short? I mean, it's gonna grow, but I've had a
Oh,
moment
I
of
think
like, fuck.
you're gonna have to rock it now, I'm afraid. Like this is just gonna have to be your new look. Next time I want it straight, like straightened down or on the front of your face.
I'll try, but it's literally not even straight. I think someone has to straighten it out of my face.
At least the lashes are a distraction. No one's
Oh
looking
yeah,
at your
that's true.
fringe.
I'm crying. That was so funny. Ugh. Okay. Also, everybody has heard today the debut of our new song. So everybody had voted, and everybody voted for version 2. So that's a new intro song, and
Yes.
so excited. So, anything else that you want to tell us, Jasmine, or should we start with the episode?
No, I don't think so. When do you become an official British citizen and go to your ceremony? Is that soon?
On the 11th. So, in
Oh, very
my
soon.
14 days.
Okay, we need pictures.
And yes, and that's why I said, like, why did I do this now to myself? Because there's going to be photos. But I also bought like a fake French just in case. And then I'll just, just
Yeah,
pop
just
it
stick it.
on.
Put it over the top. Put
And
it over the
look it.
top.
He just said, look, I'll just pop it on and that's it.
At
No
least it's
worries.
longer than your fringe now, so it's definitely you're not going to see
Yeah.
your fringe underneath.
Yeah. To be honest, I hope it's the same color. I haven't tried,
Oh
but
yeah.
so we'll see. I'll post a photo with it on our stories for everybody to see. Okay, so today's topic, as the title says, is like motherhood wasn't in the plan until it was. And we're just gonna talk with my friend Lauren. I've met Lauren many years ago at the gym. Since then, I've changed gyms, and we still follow each other on Instagram. She's a listener of the podcast, and then she submitted a topic that I thought it was very important for us to talk about. So, welcome to the podcast, Lauren. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I feel like I've just entered like a group chat with my sisters because I feel like we need like iced coffee and someone to have like some sort of drama in the background, and then it's exactly the same. So, like, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm just excited to be here and to chat to you both about something that, yeah, having been a listener for a little while, actually on Spotify. So I was a bit late to join the Instagram crew because I listened to a lot of my podcasts on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a bit of a probably not introvert as such, but I'm not a very like extroverted person. But when I saw you were doing the podcast, I was like, actually, this is something that I think is really valuable
Mm-hmm.
for women to talk about, and it isn't discussed. And I think the whole like concept around changing your mind and why it's actually such a positive growth about that just is all shrouded under this kind of like, I don't know, that this whole big ethos they have around whether you have like maternal instincts from birth, and like, you know, people refer to you being like, oh, they're going to be a great mom. But I'm like, how can you possibly expect a child to have an instinct that now, only just in my mid 30s, am I kind of feeling I'm getting to grips with? And so I think it alienates a lot of women in society. And I imagine there is a lot of people out there who are on the fence and aren't sure what they want in life, but they feel like they can never air that because there's two sides of the fence. You are either 100%, I want to be a mum,
Mm-hmm.
I love children, I love everything, or you're not. And there's this like massive void in between that you're like, loads of people fall in between. That's not how
Yeah.
life works. So yeah, I just sort of thought, although I'm probably not the most extrovert person, I would come on because it might help, hopefully, somebody who perhaps feels the same?
Yeah, 100%. I think from knowing different mums, I know that for one, I don't think you have to love all children to love your own child. It's very different. It is very different. I know lots of people absolutely love being a parent and looking after and being with their own child, but put them in a room of children and it's their worst nightmare. So I definitely think there's just a lot of context in, like, there's lots of layers to this. And again, I think even just like not just motherhood, there's oftentimes in my life where I think, oh, maybe I've changed my opinion about something that I've always been quite vocal about, and you feel like you're going to look a bit stupid if you're like, oh, well, I can't say that now because everyone's going to be like, well, you've been saying this for years. I will sometimes feel a bit like, well, I can't now change my mind. And you definitely can, because we evolve as people, we change all of the time. So can you give us a little bit of background then on kind of where you stood and how this came about for you as a topic?
Yeah. So I think, and it's funny because it would have been, like early 20s, I knew Soraya. And that was kind of, it's funny because that's the sort of stage that I met you. So when I'm thinking back at that, but I think if you'd have asked me, you know, did I want to be a mum? I'd have been like, no, I don't think I want to be a parent. I didn't hate children. It was just, it wasn't a thing. I remember I've got an older sister and people would always be like, oh my gosh, she's so maternal. She likes dollies. And when she'll be older, she's going to be such a fantastic mum. And that rhetoric was never kind of the same with me, which is fine. I just remember being in my 20s and kind of being like, I don't think that's in my future, but quite happy, lots of loving people around me, lots of children around me. And then I think I just outgrew that concept. It was almost like I was holding on to those sets of beliefs because, and like you just said, Jasmine, part of it was embarrassment that I had changed my mind. And because everyone knew me as this person who wasn't going to be a mum, and holding on to this because it was almost like, well, that makes up who you are as a person. That's inherently linked to your values as a human being. I think I got to my early 30s and was like, I'm holding on to this. And it's like literally serving me no purpose because I've outgrown who I was in my early 20s. I'm no longer her. And I almost found when I told people that I had fallen pregnant with my partner, I had a long-term partner, people were a bit like, oh, I didn't think you'd ever be a mum. And I quite close loved ones who have known me really well. And I remember feeling almost like embarrassed again at being like, oh, well, yeah, but and I just feel like the pressure that we put on women in society to make a stand and be like, this is who you are. You're a career girly or you're not. You're a gym girly or you're not. You're a maternal mum or you're not. It's so encompassing that when you step outside of that box with something like motherhood or other big changes you make, it's never really met hugely positively. And I find that so difficult because I know so many men that have overnight become parents. And it's always, oh, you'd be a great dad. It's never, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think you wanted to, I didn't think you were ever going to be a dad. It was almost like, oh, you'll be great. You'll get there. And I just remember feeling a bit like people just don't give women the opportunity to grow in society the same way as they do men. And I think if I'd been a bit more sort of less self-aware and carried on that belief, I potentially would today not have my son. I would have held on to that, even though it didn't benefit me at all because I no longer felt that way, but because I felt like that's what I should be doing and that's what I'd said to people.
You just said something that is very true. And, we are all struggling, still struggling. I know the society is evolving, but we're still struggling. It's not the same way that women are judged, that men are judged. So you just go from, I don't want to be a parent, I don't want to have children. What was the initial reaction that you got from people when you told them that? And then obviously when everybody kind of got to the okay with the idea, the reaction that you got when you said, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, it was. So obviously it's a decision my partner and I had made for a while. So we've had a bit of a journey with falling pregnant anyway. So our minds had a chance to get used to the idea after talking about it. But yeah, there was a lot of people. And like I said, close loved ones. I'm not talking because I'm
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
introverted, I didn't put anything on social media. I mean, I was almost, actually, no, I'd given birth before I put anything on social media. So, like, I didn't, like, that wasn't on there. But quite a few people were like, it was almost like their whole idea of who I was had to change in that, like,
Mhm.
second of telling them. And of course, like, I'm hugely grateful that I have so many people that were supportive. My sisters were just like, there was just instant scream, there was none of
Yeah, of
that. But
course.
there were loved friends and family members who were a bit taken back. And I just remember that feeling of being like, yeah, like I said, like slightly embarrassed, like felt like I had to explain myself, justify why I wasn't the same. Like, you don't talk about that conversation
No.
every week. It's like something you mention once in a few years. And I almost felt like I had to like have that conversation with people. And I found that really difficult because I was like I said, we had a bit of a journey to get there. And then I didn't want to then be like, oh, so here's all my justification, like a PowerPoint. And this is why I'm no longer the same as when I was 18. But that's kind of how I felt internally. And it took away some of the joy of telling people because you're anxious about it. Well, most mums and dads are a little bit anxious about telling people. And then on top of that, I sort of had this like bit of shame around being like, well, how do I explain that to people?
I feel like there's a lesson there of like one, not putting ourselves in a box, and also not putting other people around us
That.
into a
Yeah.
box as well. Because I feel like something I'm really conscious of with my daughter is like not telling her who she is.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite easy. Do you know, when you see certain traits in someone, you say, well, you're this type of person. And I do think naturally that happens when you're young as well. They'll be like, if you're the really chatty, outspoken girl at school, you're like bossy and all, like even from a young age, you're kind of categorized, aren't you, into like the type of person that you are. To me, we're all like a result of not only who we are, but our circumstances and the information that we have at that point in our lives. And that changes over time. So clearly we change as well. And yeah, I think it's always just important to remember that the people around you, we know parts of people, but you never really know a full person as well. And all
Yeah.
the other elements of them, we kind of see parts of the people that we know, and that it's important to let other people grow and change and not put them in a certain box that you expect them to stay in as well. And I do think that is something you learn in your 30s, because I'm going through a phase at the moment. I was actually talking to my friend about this today. We were on a play date with our girls and we were chatting, and I was just saying how I feel like I'm in a point where I'm reevaluating a lot of who I am and what I want. And I think that comes with the kind of being in your 30s and reevaluating, like, who am I because of my circumstances or because of things that have happened to me or things that I've chosen up until this point, and who actually am I to the core and how has that changed. So I definitely think for me it's like a really important thing that we should all be thinking about. And like I say, giving people around us the opportunity to change without trying to put them in some sort of box.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's really difficult. I think it's particularly difficult until you get to your 30s because is a period of growth in society. And everyone's like, yeah, like, you'll change who you are in your 20s and then, but actually, I'm sure if you ask me in, 10 years' time, in my early to mid 40s, I will also be an entirely different person
Yeah.
than who I am now. But it's almost like you're not given that permission to change your mind and to actually say, yeah. And I think that was a big thing for me. It was like, this wasn't benefiting anyone. This whole concept of me being like, no, I'm not maternal. I don't want children. I was like, who is this? Like, I think people thought, I'm sure a lot of people thought, oh, we were in a childless marriage because my partner didn't want children. Or, we were, all sorts of like narratives I'm sure people had that actually I was like, it's just a growth. It's a decision you make as a human.
Mhm.
And it's entirely okay if you grow, but that doesn't change your mind. And I think once you get to your 30s, you're almost like those values that you have that you worry about when you change your mind. Because I think isn't it? It's like you change your mind about anything. You change your mind about your career or your house or you know, somebody you love and you no longer love, it's almost like, does that affect my core values? Like, does that mean I'm not who I thought I was anymore? You know, like, am I no longer loving and kind? But actually, it's not that at all, because those core values are still, it's just the context around them changes. And I think when you get to your 30s, it's almost like those core values have been in place over so much change that you're like, I'm still loving and kind. I'm loving and kind if I didn't have a baby, and I'm loving and kind if I do. I'm loving and kind if I decide this relationship is no longer valuable to me and I no longer love someone. That doesn't, I'm not, I haven't stopped being kind, but I have acknowledged and understood that that holds me no value. Whereas in my 20s, I think probably went through a period of being like, trying to hold on to as many values, like collect them and be like, I'm kind and nice and, you know, like good at work, and I want to get a career, but I also want to be like party and da-da-da. And then you sort of get to your 30s, and I was like, yeah, no, thank you. I don't like doing half of this stuff, and I don't like doing it. So what value is that playing in my life? And it kind of made me a little bit sad, you know, like I would say it went on that verge of being like, well, this is actually making me unhappy to hold on to these like ideas that I have to be the same person I was.
Do you feel like, because obviously, like you said, you didn't post anything on social media, you were just, it was just basically people in your close circle, family, friends. I think obviously we grew up without social media. We still have this kind of value, like, you know, like this kind of things of like, once you make your mind, that's what you are, and you're gonna be like that your whole life, right? But I feel like for us, it's hard, but I think it's easier than it's gonna be for future generations, because now people are speaking their minds out on social media, especially in their 20s. And it's about like one thing that you said, that now is what you believe, that's who you are. And there is no way you can change your mind now. If you do, you need to do like a whole statement of explanations now to a lot of people that probably you don't even know 2/3 of them, but you have to do it. People are so quick to judge and so quick to cancel and so quick not to let people evolve. Something that you said 10 years ago, even if you change your mind now, or I said this without even like thinking about it, I apologize, that's not exactly how I feel. You know, that was like a stupid thing that I did in my 20s. People are so not eager to, you know, forget or pardon you or anything like that. And I think that that's going to be a big, big challenge for future generations. So I think what you're doing, Jasmine, with your daughter, it's great to show her like you can be who you want to be. You don't have to just, you know, fit in a box or whatever. If you want to change your mind, you want to be a princess today and you want to be a knight tomorrow, so be it. That's perfectly fine.
I feel like definitely because once you think something about yourself, you feed into that thing. So I feel like from when I was young, certain things that I knew about myself, then in my head it's like a rule, like that you learn it, and then it's like, well, that's a rule. I'm this type of person. So it does affect the way you act in certain situations or the things that you do because you have that belief about yourself. So for me, yeah, I think it's really important to be able to just let people, one, figure out who they are for themselves without being told who they are, but also to know that who we are isn't a fixed thing. Just because you're scared of doing something, like I obviously I had anxiety badly in my early 20s, and I think I was scared of a lot of things that I told myself. I'm somebody who is scared flying, for example. I'm scared of flying, so I'd naturally be terrified every time I was flying because I was like, I'm somebody who's scared of flying. And then as soon as I changed that belief about myself and thought, I'm fine with flying, it's not as simple as this. Obviously, there was other work to do in that. I'm not saying that you can click your fingers and change it. But I fly now, and yes, I get a little bit nervous flying, but it's nothing the same as what it was because I've let go of that belief about myself and I've changed the way that I approach things. I was going to ask, so I've always wanted to be a mum. So I feel like even though I've always wanted to be a mum, and I felt I had qualities that would make me a good mum, once I'd had Mila, I had all the doubts in the world. Like when you first bring home a baby, you're like all of a sudden like, I don't know what I'm doing, who left me in charge of this child. Like, I've got to keep this child alive and I have no idea what to do, and you doubt yourself in a million different ways. Do you think the fact that you hadn't wanted to be a mum before, and maybe other people's reactions and things like that, do you think that affected you and made it harder for you?
Great question. I don't think it made it harder for me um, to be a mum, the practical side, because I completely agree with Jasmine. I think it's all just like, oh, me and my sisters always say, like, um, the expression lol joke, because everything is, oh, you know what you're doing, lol joke, because nobody knows what they're doing. And it's like that can apply to absolutely everything, I think, in almost anyone's life. You know, we're all just winging it. So practically, I don't think so. But what I think it did probably make me is quite protective over my son. So I for the first couple of months was very like guarded, I think, and very like protective over him. And I think that probably came from like also needing to protect myself. I don't post on social media and I'm not really extrovert because naturally, because I those sort of things do bother me when people are unkind, when people say things. I'd like to say it doesn't bother me. Because in other circumstances it doesn't. So like at work I'm okay with it, you know, but like I do know that if loved ones were to comment on something and I would read into it, I would then feel quite hurt by it. So as a way to sort of protect myself and as a way to protect my son, and because of people's reactions perhaps weren't all, yay, amazing, I knew you were going to be a mum, and like, oh, we prepped his, here's your, you know, thing we prepped for the last 10 years because we knew you were going to be a mum. And because of that, I think I was quite like guarded with who I spent time with and probably still am. And I think that probably just comes from kind of being a bit like, yeah, I don't know what I think is going to happen, but I almost want to make sure that like he's always surrounded by people that love him. And like you're saying, Jasmine, give him the opportunity to be whoever he wants to be. And almost that idea of the big, wide, scary world where there will be people, like you were saying, so that pick holes into everything you do and pull you apart. I'm almost like really like, I don't want this perfect, I mean, he's not, he's an absolute nightmare, but this perfect little, like, my little pig to like go there and have this, and people be like, oh, I don't like what he's wearing. I can't bear the thought of it. Like, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And so,
Like, and why would people even comment that?
yeah, yeah. But you know, you could, or you put something online thinking you're doing an okay job as a mum, and then someone's like, what the hell are you doing? That's really dangerous, or you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah.
Yes, literally, I saw the other day. Well, I have a question for after, but I just like that you said this. I was like, I need to mention this. It was this celebrity that I'm following, and she was on holiday with her husband and her 3 kids. So she had like a 2-year-old, 2 twins, and like 1 newborn. You know, like it's crazy. But they were like in a boat and they were just filming a video, and she had to put in the video okay, just enjoying the sunset in the cruise or on the boat or whatever, and then she has to put as well a disclaimer. We just took the life jackets off for this video, so we could just make it nice and cute. And I was like, what? There is a need to actually have to make that comment, because obviously people is being so quick to judge, and everybody is doing something wrong. Like, how dare you do this? How dare you do that? Oh my God, I cannot believe this. Why do people need to even make those comments? Like, let people post whatever people want to post. If they are doing it, it's probably because they want to have the memories there online for later on, so their kids can just watch it later, the trips that they did. But no, now we need to say, just so you guys know, we just took the life jackets off for like 2 minutes while we were filming the video, then we put them back on. Like, why? That's crazy. Social media. Anyway. And I'm saying like I'm alone in social media, okay? But at the same time, I think it's just crazy.
Instagram and all the other social medias, because this is a great podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And you said social media for the podcast. But I had a question regarding, obviously, we're just talking about like how the kind of like surprise comments that you got when you kind of like changed your mind. But what was the initial reaction when you told people, I don't want to have kids? Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women that might be listening to the podcast that don't want to have kids, but they feel the pressure of having to have kids. Everybody's asking them all the time, so when are you having kids or whatever, and they might not want to have kids, and they don't know how to explain it for people not to judge them as much as they are actually going to judge them for it.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, because like I said, there will be people, that have changed their mind and did also want children, but now don't, which again, I think in the same vein is absolutely fine and should be implored. And if that's a decision that makes you happy, it's okay. In private, my husband and I would joke with my husband and say, we're just having sex at the minute for fun, which never actually say to anyone, but it's almost like that was the response I wanted to give people, because I was like, that's basically what you're asking, is like, are you doing this to have a child or are you not? So I never actually said that to anyone.
But it's the intrusive thought that you just
Yeah,
want to tell people,
like,
right? Yeah.
that's what you're asking me.
That would probably stop them asking.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They'd be like, moving on.
I probably should have, actually said it out loud. But I think I was just kind of like, oh, I don't think that that's in my future, and I don't think that's something that my husband and I, or my partner and I, want to do. And I sort of, like you said, there were people that were like, and there was always people that were like, you're going to change your mind. You change your mind. You'll all want kids. You'll want kids, or don't leave it too late. They're like, throwaway comments. You're like, great. But I think on the whole, people were okay, because, like I said, that almost fits into a box.
Yeah.
That's like, women, it's okay if you don't want children. We're going to be okay with that as society. But you can never change your mind. Don't
Mhm.
change your mind. Don't be coming back in 5 years and saying, I do, because you have said you don't. That's fine. You can fit in that little box. And so I think people were very much like, okay, you go in that box and make sure you stay there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, because I mean, for me, my situation is a little bit different, because really, really, really trying. It's really difficult. It's just, gonna take me a while. I'm just hoping it will happen. But at the same time, as I see society evolving and things happening and just how crazy the world is, I am thinking I won't blame anybody that decides I don't want to bring a child into this world, even though they really wanted to, because I get it. It's a scary world where everything is going.
Yeah. I think it's worth saying as well that you don't have to have an answer for people. I mean, it's fine. It's okay to not know about something, and and even if you think you know, it's okay to not want to share it with people.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people make you feel bad if you don't want to discuss something or answer their question, or maybe we feel uncomfortable to make it awkward by being like, I don't want to talk about that with you. Like it
Yeah.
feels like that would be
Or
like
much
an
rather not
awkward thing
discuss
to
it.
do.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like there always needs to be a reason, or like you need to just
yeah,
give an explanation, right? This
yeah.
book, the let them theory, is helping us a lot,
Yes.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're learning so much.
But it's just so true, isn't it? Like, because people ask me, are you going to have more children? Are you going to have another child? And I often say, no, right now I don't foresee that I will. But who knows? I might change my mind. I might change my mind tomorrow. When I decided to have my daughter, it wasn't the day before. I wasn't even thinking about having a child. The day after, my husband brought it up and said, "Should we have a child?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we were having a child. Like that's just how life goes, isn't it? Like we don't know. Today, I might be thinking about something else to do with my life. We don't have the answers to everything all of the time. And sometimes it's just like, I don't know. I don't know right now. We don't need to know everything about what we want and who we are at all times.
And we
And
don't
I
have
do
to
think
explain us
sometimes there's
ourselves.
pressure. Yeah. And I've always been quite an open book because I've always felt like I needed to be like a genuine person. I had to lay bare for everybody.
And
So
because we're
it's,
people pleasers, Jasmine, so we feel like,
yeah.
people ask, so we give,
Yeah,
you
I
shall
feel like it
receive if
would be
you ask.
wrong to not tell the truth about something that I think or feel. Although saying that, I hold back. I'm not somebody who throws my opinion in, especially in a debate. I just don't. But in situations, if someone would ask me, I would feel like I would almost feel guilt or like it was dishonest to not lay bare my truth to people. And I've definitely learned as I get older that I don't need to tell everyone everything that I'm thinking or what my plans are, and sometimes it's nicer not to, because it takes away that. Often it puts a big pressure, especially if it's something you want to do and you tell people about it. All of a sudden there's this big pressure to be like, well, if I don't do it now, I look, again, back to what we said at the beginning, like I look silly, like because I haven't done what I said I was going to do, or because I changed my mind and don't want to do it anymore. And sometimes it's uncomfortable feeling like you have to explain to people anything that changes.
Question for you, for both of you. Perfect. Bravo, Jasmine. That was perfect. Yes. But now, I'm in that dilemma. How do you now? Like, if you don't want to, if someone asks you about something and you don't really want to explain it or say it, what do you do? Like, do you just lie and just say something else? Do you just say, I don't want to talk about it, and then just like mic drop and leave the conversation? What do you do in those type of situations? Because I am getting in some of those, and I'm just like, I don't know how to navigate the way I'm going to
feel like
answer.
Jasmine and my answer is going to be very different because I think we're very different people. But Jasmine, you go first.
No, you go first now. I'm intrigued.
You're the guest. You go first.
My answer is quite simple. I just don't leave the house. Don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't talk to anyone. Just stay in my little bubble with my cups of tea and just, no, like, in all honesty, I do try and avoid people that I think that make a habit of doing that. Because again, talking about getting into your 30s, I'm like, again, I don't think they're asking from a place of kindness. I don't think they're asking you, Soraya, because they're like, I'm genuinely sending love, and I hope whatever's happening, if you want to share, sometimes it's nice to talk to someone. I think they're asking from projecting from themselves as a way of being like, okay, well, this makes me feel better if misery is shared. So I'm not having a great time. I hope you're not having a great time, but I'd like you to say it out loud. And so I try to make a habit of not spending time with those sort of people. And you have to, of course, with like work and stuff. But I do sort of feel like my circle is small now, and those sort of like tag-alongs in my life fell out a long time ago. I just sort of kind of left quietly and then don't speak to them anymore.
I think like along the lines of that, I think if you've got the right sort of people in your life, to be fair, most people would respect your answer to something. Say, sorry, if we were having a conversation, for example, and you asked me about something and I said, I don't really want to talk about it or whatever, you'd probably just be like, fine, that's fine. Or I think if it's somebody who's going to be like, oh, well, you don't want to talk to me about it, then why would you want to talk to that person anyway, I guess?
Yeah.
The first thing.
I guess you won't receive a text from me anymore.
Yeah.
You're out of my life. Goodbye.
But then also, like a lot of the time, I think like if somebody asks me something, I would just say, if I didn't know, I'd just say, I don't know. Why do you ask? I think often putting a question back to somebody, throwing it back at them sometimes is a good thing. You say like, say if somebody asks you and you say like, oh yeah, I'm not sure why. Have you been thinking about that? And just put it, because sometimes people ask you things because it's something they want to talk about. So sometimes they quite like it. If you throw the question back, then they'll get to say what they want to say. And then if it's about a situation or something, I would just say, oh, you know what, it's a long story and it's just not something I want to get into. Or I think there's ways that you can try and do it. Obviously, it's so dependent on the person and the situation, I think. And I'm definitely not perfect at it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm as I said, like I'm learning. We said already, like we're changing. We're discovering that, we're not the same people that we used to be, that we are slowly realizing like, what am I doing this? Like, or as we said, like, I don't think that anymore, or I'm not going to conform to these norms anymore. But I still find I'm struggling still a little bit to stand up for myself in certain situations and not be like, oh yeah, I need to give an explanation for absolutely everything. any decision that I made or anything that I do, you know? I'm still
Yeah.
struggling.
I would say, like, to be fair, along the same veins as what Lauren said, like, I actually don't talk to that many people on a daily basis. Like,
Yeah.
to be fair, we both know that you are way more sociable than I am. Like, it's literally right now we're on like a spectrum of most to least sociable.
Yeah.
I don't talk to that many people on a daily basis, I would say. And I'm actually, although I'm somebody who is very open book and stuff, I think I deliberately keep quite a lot of people at arm's length. There's not many people that actually like get into my
Yeah.
inner workings enough that they would probably feel comfortable to ask me certain questions.
But what about family, for example?
I think like, I'm really close to my mum and dad, but I'm close enough to be like, to say whatever I want to them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, I don't find anything awkward with them because I'd literally just, like, I'm not talking about that to you, and that would be it. But and then I'm not, like I say, I'm very close to my mum and dad, but then my external family, none of them are close enough to me to be in a situation to be asking me those sort of questions. So I think I don't think it's the best thing about me, to be honest, but I am somebody who keeps people just far enough away that they can't really ask me very personal questions, I'd say. Not always a good thing.
I feel as well, because I've kind of gone through this and I feel like I've learned quite a bit about myself. I feel like what I've started doing is if I'm party to those sort of conversations, and I've really made an exerted effort to do it, whenever a female says, "Oh, I've decided to do this," I'm like, "I love that for you." And like audibly say it in conversations, and I refuse to have that bystander effect of being like, "I felt embarrassed once upon a time to say this." And I didn't like feeling that way about a decision that has made my life 100 times better, that's how I feel. And so I like make such an effort to say to all women, no matter the age or like, and men, but like particularly women, even something when they pick, like, you see someone in a shop and they pick up a top and they're like, "Oh," I always go past and I'm like, "Love that. That's so nice of you." Because I'm like empowering women to make decisions, because I think we don't, like, we just
Yeah.
guess everything. Is that what we should be doing? And are we okay with that? And will that upset someone? And should we be looking after someone else? And if I make that decision, if we do all of this, like we do it all 100 times every day, every nanosecond, I've made such an effort to be like, I love that for you. And even if you, like Jasmine was saying, you don't agree with it, even if it's something that I'm like, perhaps it doesn't, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I love that. So, like, sorry, when you were like, "I've cut my hair," I was like, "I love that for you." I was like, "I
Yeah.
love that for you." I love that. I love that you shouldn't have cut your hair when it was wet, but you still did,
Yeah.
because that's what you did. And like, it's made you laugh, and the world keeps spinning, and we're all okay. And I just think, yeah, sharing that empowerment with other women in your 30s and not having that bystander of not saying anything when people can make the world of difference to someone. If someone says something out loud and you can see they're audibly uncomfortable, being like, I love that. I mean, obviously, if they're saying something really offensive, I'm like, I do not love that, and you should not say that. I'm going to stop you right there. But as a whole, yeah, I try to do it. I try to do it with like the young people in my family as well, because you're so impressionable. You're like, as a female,
Yeah.
so like, it's just relentless as to what you should be like, and you have to be nice all the time. You don't owe niceness to anyone, but you are told you are to be nice. You are nice. All ladies are nice. Everyone's nice. Nice all the time. Like, no, be cross. Like, it's fine. I love that. I love that you are angry today. Love that for you. And you can change your mind. And if you're happy in 10 seconds, I love that for you even more. But like, yeah, I really have tried to say that out loud to people, because yeah, I think if I'd have been in some of the circumstances and someone had said that to me, I probably would have been like, oh, a little bit of that weight of that, like, yeah, it would have gone.
And I feel like that sentence as well goes well as well if someone says something really rude and then you say like, "Oh yeah, I love that for you," and then it's like, there you go.
You. Heavy on the you.
Yeah.
I think this links in the book again that we've been talking about, Let Them Theory,
Yeah.
is very much about like, I've realised I've always been quite a
Wait,
sensitive
is this a
person.
spoiler? Are you farther along in the book than I am?
No, I don't think I am.
Correct.
No, and it's very light touch. I think I've always been very sensitive. I would lie if I said I wasn't sensitive now. However, sorry, my headphone's dying. Hang on. I'm saying low battery over and over in my ear. I can't be doing that.
Trying to shut down that
There
voice,
we
like
go.
no
It's like
battery.
low battery.
I
It was just
know,
like
I'm tired.
low battery in an American accent, and I can't be doing that. What was I saying? So I think, yeah, I've always been sensitive. I still am. However, I've found like better ways to work around that a little bit now. And I try and always think like, what impact am I letting this have on me? And how am I letting this infiltrate my life? Because sometimes someone does something and maybe they don't even know they've upset you, and then I think like just just let them do that, let them think that, let them act that way, just let them do it and let me get on with my life, because I could spend the day feeling sorry for myself or upset about what someone's done, and the only person that's hurt myself there is me, because I've let myself dwell on it and be sad about it all day. And as soon as I decide to let them do it and to just get on with my day, I've made that decision to not let that thing hurt me. And I've really tried. It's not always easy, but I've really tried to implement that in my life in a lot of ways. And then the same thing goes for just let people do what they want. My husband's dad's always said, do what you do. Do what you do. Like it's this little catchphrase. I'm like, you do whatever you do. And I often think that about other people. I don't agree with everything everybody does. We're all really different. We all have different opinions. As long as you're not murdering, hurting anyone, committing a crime, anything drastic like that, just do what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Let other people do what they want to do. As long as other people are happy and they're not negatively impacting other people on purpose, who cares? Like, we don't need to have a strong opinion about other people's life choices.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think
That's what I think to that.
the love you have for people runs much deeper than that, isn't it? That's the other thing I think we forget. Like with your friends, you're like, I'm imagining both the same. You have friends that I've known for years and years, and Lord, I was awful when they first knew me. Like in terms of like being a good friend, I was I used to be so scatty and I think they've loved you through all those stages, and they've loved you all this stage, and they've loved you through the next stage, and they'll carry on loving you. And so like you were saying, like do what you do, because inherently the people that do love you and are okay with those decisions will carry on loving you, because that it's not your external factors. Like I said, like that whole values, it's because the value that you hold is what they also hold, and it's that that keeps us together as people. But I think if you spend your whole life kind of trying desperately to affect other people, it must be exhausting. I can't even imagine what it must be like to try and dictate how other people live, because who has that energy? Because please give me some. I would love to have half that energy. Like I'm running on like 0.2% most days. I can't then even be like, somebody else should be doing this. I mean, wow, that's, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, Lauren. It's been amazing. But before we kind of like finish the episode, I just want to know if there is anything that you want to tell the girls under 20s that are listening to the podcast, and maybe to all the women 30s and beyond as well.
I guess my biggest takeaway would be change your mind and do it if it is valuable to you. If it is no longer holding value, you're not less of a person. It doesn't make you any less human or valuable to get rid of things that no longer serve you, and let it go and change your mind and celebrate yourself for doing that. Because if it's a way to make you happier and it's genuinely, going to change your future, whether that's moving home, finding someone else you love, like taking a chance on something, or becoming a mum when you didn't think you were going to be. I mean, that is just like how amazing. And yeah, to just find other females like those on this call that celebrate you and find them and stick with them. And if you can't, don't leave your house.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So, Jasmine, do you want to send us off then?
Yes, thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us. I really enjoyed tonight's chat. And yeah, I just think, like, just adding to what you said, like, you can only control what's within your life, and just don't ever let anybody's judgments or feelings stop you from doing anything. Because like we're here once, like, what? Imagine just like regretting if you'd have changed your mind and thought you wanted a child, but thought, oh, I can't do that because I've always said I can't. You may have got to the end of your life and then thought, like, oh, I wish I'd had that child that I once thought about having, and didn't let worries about what other people think make me change my mind about it. So yeah, everyone should go out and live their lives. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you are following us on Instagram if you are listening, and make sure you leave us a rating on Spotify. I investigated today, and you can just click and put a rating on. I'm not sure if it lets you write a review, but you can definitely rate.
5 stars, please.
If you want to send us a review, write it, send it to us on Instagram, because then we can at least use those reviews as well and share them for the people. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you also watch the episode now that you can see us in all of our glory on the videos, and vote for us in the British Podcast Awards. And we'll speak to you all very soon. Goodbye.